All honors and endless glories are given to you, Jesus. At this very moment, you are about to embark on a fascinating journey where we will reveal one of the greatest biblical mysteries. Why did the devil want the body of Moses? Get ready to discover heavenly secrets, spiritual battles, and surprising revelations that will hold your attention from beginning to end. Together, let's unravel this intriguing dispute between Michael, the Archangel, and Satan, a conflict that echoes through the centuries and continues to fascinate us to this day. To better understand this story, we need to look at the book of Jude, verse 9. There, a contention between Michael and Satan over the body of Moses is mentioned. This event is not described anywhere else in Scripture, which raises many questions. How did Jude know about this? Why did this dispute happen? These questions lead us to explore ancient traditions and apocryphal writings that may provide valuable clues. It is believed that Satan wanted the body of Moses to lead the people of Israel astray, possibly creating a place of idolatrous worship around the tomb of the great leader. The death of Moses, narrated in Deuteronomy 34, is also shrouded in mystery. Moses died at the age of 120, but his eyes were not weak, nor had his strength faded. God allowed him to see the promised land from the top of Mount Nebo, but he was not allowed to enter it. After his death, God personally buried Moses, and the burial site remains unknown to this day. This divine concealment of Moses' tomb was crucial to prevent the people of Israel from falling into idolatry, something that Satan could have used to divert the people from true worship of God. Returning to the dispute between Michael and Satan, it is fascinating to note that Michael, even though he was a powerful archangel, did not dare to bring a slanderous accusation against Satan. Instead, he said, "The Lord rebuke you." This shows us the reverence and submission that Michael had before God, a powerful lesson on humility and respect for divine authority. This attitude of Michael reflects a heavenly hierarchy where even the most powerful angels submit to God's will, in stark contrast to Lucifer's rebellion, who desired to be equal to God. In Daniel 10:21, Michael is described as the prince and guardian of the people of Israel, someone who stands to protect the nation against hostile spiritual forces. This mission of protection is reflected in the dispute over Moses' body, where Michael is determined to prevent Satan from using the leader's body to promote idolatry among the Israelites. Michael is depicted as a heavenly warrior in various passages of the Bible, including Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 9, where he leads the heavenly hosts in a battle against the dragon, which is Satan. The importance of Michael in spiritual battles highlights the ongoing struggle between good and evil, a battle that is not confined to the past, but resonates in our current spiritual life. Whenever we face temptations and challenges, we can remember Michael's steadfastness and faith, who even in the face of a powerful adversary like Satan, maintained his trust in God. This story is not just an ancient account, but a reflection of our own spiritual struggles and the need to remain steadfast in faith. The figure of Moses is central not only for the leadership he exercised, but also for the symbolism of his life and death. Moses, who led the Israelites during the Exodus and received the 10 Commandments, represents the law and faithfulness to God. His death and the mysterious burial by God underscore the sanctity of his mission and the divine desire to preserve the purity of worship to God, free from idolatry. Moses is an eternal example of obedience and divine leadership, and his story continues to inspire and teach generations about the importance of faithfully following God's will. At the end of his life, Moses transferred leadership to Joshua, a symbol of continuity and hope for the people of Israel. Preparation and succession are important themes in biblical history, showing that God's plan is continuous and spans generations. The death of Moses was not the end, but the beginning of a new phase for the people of Israel, led by Joshua, who took the people into the promised land. This transition reflects Moses' unwavering faith and trust in God to guide his people, regardless of the circumstances. As we reflect on these profound stories, we are reminded of the importance of remaining faithful and submissive to God's will, just as Michael and Moses did. The battle over Moses' body shows us that even in the most mysterious and seemingly incomprehensible things, there is a divine purpose. We must trust in God's wisdom and follow his example of humility, courage, and faith. The story of Moses and the celestial dispute over his body are powerful testimonies of divine love and protection over his people. Another interesting point to understand is the role of Satan in this whole story. Since his fall, Lucifer, or Satan, has sought ways to corrupt and lead God's people astray. The dispute over Moses' body is another attempt by Satan to use a powerful symbol for his own evil purposes. If he could divert the people's devotion to the worship of Moses' remains, it would be a great blow against the purity of worship to God. It is a reminder that Satan always seeks opportunities to lead the faithful astray, and therefore spiritual vigilance is essential. Furthermore, the reference to the dispute between Michael and Satan also points us to the reality of the spiritual battles that happen behind the scenes of our visible existence. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12 that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. This dispute over Moses' body is a tangible example of this constant spiritual war involving good and evil. And what can we learn from Michael's submission to God? Firstly, that true power lies in submission to the divine will. Michael did not venture to rebuke Satan on his own, but trusted in God's authority. This teaches us that regardless of our strength or position, we must always submit to God and trust in his justice and power. It is a powerful reminder that our spiritual strength comes from our relationship with God and our obedience to him. Returning to the historical and biblical context, Moses is a prominent figure for his faith and obedience. From his calling at the burning bush to leading the people of Israel through the desert, his life was marked by miracles and challenges. He faced Pharaoh, led the Exodus, received the law on Mount Sinai, and guided the people to the edge of the promised land. Each of these events highlights Moses' intimate relationship with God and his dedication to fulfilling the divine will, despite challenges and setbacks, are especially touching. Even knowing he would not enter the land, he remained faithful to the end. This final scene is a powerful testimony of Moses' unwavering faith and the spiritual reward he expected. He saw the land God promised, a glimpse of the fulfillment of the divine promise, even though he himself could not step into it. This moment reminds us that our faith often leads us to work for promises that will be fulfilled beyond our own lives. But our faithfulness is not in vain. As we reflect on these profound stories, we are reminded of the importance of remaining faithful and submissive to God's will, just as Michael and Moses did. The battle over Moses' body shows us that even in the most mysterious and seemingly incomprehensible things, there is a divine purpose. We must trust in God's wisdom and follow his example of humility, courage, and faith. The story of Moses and the celestial dispute over his body are powerful testimonies of divine love and protection over his people. Now, a curiosity from the endless glories. According to some Jewish traditions, mentioned in writings such as the Apocalypse of Moses and the Assumption of Moses, Moses' body was translated to heaven after his death. These writings, though not canonical, offer a fascinating perspective on the veneration and respect for Moses. These texts suggest that Moses' importance transcended his earthly life, elevating him to a celestial state. Even though these traditions are not universally accepted, they reflect the deep reverence Moses continues to have through the centuries. And what do you think about this? Comment below as soon as the video ends. Considering the figure of Michael, it is also relevant to mention that he is one of the three archangels mentioned in the Bible, alongside Gabriel and, in some traditions, Raphael. Michael is often depicted as a warrior, wielding a sword and leading the heavenly armies against the forces of evil. His image as a defender of God's people is a source of inspiration and courage for many believers. He symbolizes the constant and necessary struggle against the evil forces that try to divert humanity from the divine path. As we reflect on these profound stories, we are reminded of the importance of remaining faithful and submissive to God's will, just as Michael and Moses did. The battle over Moses' body shows us that even in the most mysterious and seemingly incomprehensible things, there is a divine purpose. We must trust in God's wisdom and follow his example of humility, courage, and faith. The story of Moses and the celestial dispute over his body are powerful testimonies of divine love and protection over his people. As we close this video, reflect on the lessons we have learned today. The story of Michael, Moses, and Satan is not just an ancient account, but a powerful message for our lives. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, activate notifications, and don't miss any of our upcoming content. Share this video with your friends and family so they can also discover these fascinating mysteries. Leave your comment below. We want to know your opinion and what other mysteries you would like us to explore. Your participation is crucial for us to continue bringing inspiring and revealing content. Thank you for watching, and until the next adventure. Together, we will continue to explore the deepest secrets of faith and history. And remember, every story we tell is a piece of the great puzzle of life and history. Stay with God, and until the next endless glory.